Hello, my name is Katie and welcome to my 10 least favorite books of 2020. I kind of have these ranked. Yeah, kind of. And there's a couple that were less I out and out didn't like them and more they were just kind of disappointing. And those are the ones that are more in the 10, 9, 8 range. But we will just discuss them and let you know why I didn't care for them. I am not digging them out of these stacks. That's not happening. So I will just put pictures up here or here or whatever ends up working out better when I'm editing. Let us just jump right in. Book number 10. The Soul of an Octopus, A Surprising Exploration into the Wonder of Consciousness by Montgomery. This I didn't out and out dislike. This is one that I was disappointed by because I didn't quite get out of it what I wanted to. I was hoping it would be more into an exploration of the mind of the octopus, the consciousness aspect, more science approached. But it really wasn't. Mostly what I got out of it was how different people interacting with the octopuses in this one aquarium, how their lives were changed by coming into contact with the octopus. It was very much more of a memoir type of book, and I don't really like memoirs. So while I'm not going to say this was a bad book, because I don't think it was, it just really wasn't for me. It was disappointing, hence why it's number 10. Book number 9, 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. This is book number 9 because I read it so long ago at this point that I actually can't remember what it was that I disliked about this book. I just remember seeing that I had rated it 2 stars, and immediately my brain was like, you need to add that into your least favorite reads of 2020. So I think, if I remember correctly, this is a thriller about these murders that are happening. And some rather intelligent detective realizes that the murders are happening and they're based off of this blog post that this man who works at a bookshop did called like 8 Perfect Murders or something, and they were what he considered to be the most perfect murders in literature. It just, and I really don't know, I just remember being really disappointed by it, and I feel like when I got to the end, I was like, well, duh, how is this a surprise to anybody? It just wasn't for me. I will be giving Peter Swanson another chance, though, because I know a lot of people who do really like his books were also disappointed by that one. So it's possible that it was just that book. Book number 8, and this, I'm surprised I didn't like it, and I feel like this is going to upset some people, and that is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I know this is like a TV show, and clearly it's beloved by a lot of people. I think it was like a Reese Witherspoon book club pick, whatever. It was just kind of boring. Like, I didn't feel like it was exploring anything groundbreaking. I didn't feel like character-wise it was doing anything that interesting. And then there's a part of the plot, which I won't get into, but I just didn't agree with what happened. And like I didn't feel any sympathy for the character and regarding her actions. So this one, I'm gonna chalk it up to it's just not for me. Book number 7. Now we're getting into stuff that I really just didn't like. Bunk, The True Story of Hoaxes, Hucksters, Humbug, Plagiarists, Forgeries, and Phonies by Kevin Young. Wow, was this book boring. With a title like that, you expect it to be full of all kinds of zany stuff, but no. No. Not really. I remember listening to the audiobook, and I was just so disappointed. With every chapter that passed, I was like, who cares? This isn't interesting. I didn't feel like I was getting what I had been sold. So that's why this ended up at number 7. Book 6. Oh, jeez. The Darwin Affair by Tim Mason. So this was so promising. This should have been great. Okay. So this is like some kind of a mystery type thing, set in Victorian England, and it discusses Charles Darwin, and he had been on the list to be like knighted, I guess, by Queen Victoria because her husband Albert was very passionate about science and what have you. And then it just never happened. And it's just kind of exploring that situation, and it takes on at least one of the assassination attempts on Queen Victoria's life. And I was just bored. I was bored. It dragged. The pacing was terrible. And like a story that actually sounded kind of interesting, and should have been pretty interesting. It just wasn't good. So that's pretty much that. Book 5, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. Lord, so boring. So boring, and I hated the thing is, the main protagonist, the person whose head we are in while reading, is a child. The problem is, he doesn't speak like a child. He doesn't behave like a child. He isn't a child. He's like what some adult who has never interacted with a kid thinks a child behaves like. And one, I don't super love an adult book where we're in the head of a child, because that's just weird to me, for starters. If it's like in middle grade, then I don't mind, because that's the setup. That's what that's for. That's why we have middle grade. But then also, the story should have been pretty cool. And it should have been kind of sad and heartbreaking, because the whole thing is the kid, his father died during the 9/11 attacks, and he's kind of going on like a last treasure hunt that his dad left him or something. Oh my god, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, because I don't really know what was happening. And the things this kid was doing, just out by himself on the streets of New York, I was like, whoa, where's your mother? Anyway, not a fan at all. Book number 4, this will be contentious, Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. My sister and I read this together and detested it. The first, like, half, I guess, was pretty good. And then it just fell off, and we were bored. We didn't even want to read it. And we persevered, and we got through it, and we were like, why though? And we had a sneaking suspicion of how the trilogy was going to end. So we just went ahead and looked up spoilers, and we were like, are you kidding me? And then we just felt like we had wasted our entire time reading the book. Book number 3, this is a more recent read, Jungle Land, A Mysterious Lost City, a World War II Spy, and a True Story of Deadly Adventure by Christopher S. Stewart. I am going to link the wrap-up in which I talk about this book, because it was more recent, and I'm pretty sure I did a better job explaining what I hated about it in that video, so I will link that. This was just like a waste of time. It was a waste of a book. Absolutely nothing was accomplished. I spent like, well, it was an audiobook, so I spent like 12 hours listening to a grown man cry about tramping through a jungle when he's the one who decided to go do it. His wife was like, are you sure? You've never even been camping. And he was like, totally, I'm gonna go track through a jungle following the lead that this man left. And then like, it was just stupid. The way it ended, I was like, why did I waste my time? Why did I do this to myself? Horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't think I've ever disliked a nonfiction book more than that one. Book number 2, I will also link the wrap-up in which I discuss this book in the cards, because I went hard on it. The Body in the Attic by Judy Lynn. Okay, yes, this is like supposed to be a cozy mystery, but Judy Lynn is primarily a romance author, which I did not know going into it. But now that I do know, all I can think was that she must be a god-awful romance writer, because it feels like she tried to turn a cozy mystery into a romance novel, but it was awful. It was awful. There was nothing about it that felt legitimate. I never felt any chemistry between the two characters who got together, and the most cringy things were said. cringy. I hated it. I hated everything about this. And then the mystery was lame and was like obvious from the very. I think they even said in like the very first 2 chapters or something the person that it ended up being. Like, I think they had even said it. They had speculated and said that this was probably who it was. And it was that person. Awful. Hated it. Book number 1. Do I even need to say it? If you've been around, you probably remember me ranting about this. The Tattoos of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. Even when you write historical fiction, you need to do some research and make sure that what you're portraying is true to the time, the place, and the people who were there. Historical fiction is not just an excuse to write whatever you want, however you want to write it. It's just not. And even aside from that, I don't know what people liked about this book, because from what I can tell, we're supposed to like be rooting for the guy and the girl he loves and have this, oh, even in a concentration camp, love is powerful and can make it through anything. But I never felt that. And I don't know if it was just because I was so pissed off about all the historical inaccuracies or what the issue was. Anyway, I have a whole video ranting about it, and I'm just gonna link that because look, I'm just done talking about this book. And that concludes my 10 least favorite books of 2020. Let me know in the comments how you feel about these books. It's fine. I'm an adult. We can disagree. If you're new here and you like my content, subscribe. Stick around. I'd love to see you in my comments. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.